Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Entrepreneurs Inner Game podcast. I'm so excited to introduce our guest today. He's a dear friend of mine. We've known each other since around 2007, when he coached me on my first ever internet business, which was a personal shopping business, and he really helped me to make it a big, big success. We've met each other, we've known each other, we know each other's families, we've holidayed together, and it's really been fun getting to know Rob and to find out what it takes to grow a very successful business and to feel fulfilled doing it. He is a genius in marketing, strategy, and technology. And he's like the left brain. And I'm so pleased I've had the opportunity to coach him over the years and for him to coach me as well. I'll call him a mentor, which is the highest accolade I can give to anyone in the online world. I'm so excited to have this chat with you, Rob. And for people who don't know Rob, his full name is Rob Goyette, and he lives in Puerto Rico with his family. And he is one of those people who has a really great left brain and a really great right brain. And that combination is absolutely magic in the world of online marketing, because he can look at things and come up with amazing solutions. But you'll find out more about him as we get into the conversation. Rob, it's an absolute honor and privilege to have you on my podcast, and I'm so thrilled for us to be having this opportunity to talk together.
Thanks, Nina. Yeah, it's great to be here. I'm excited to see where this conversation goes.
Well, as you know, for everyone who's listening and watching, we talk about all things mindset and what it means to have a really strong inner game and to be an entrepreneur, be able to use that to enhance your success. So Rob, let's just start off with your story. You've worked with some of the best, the very best in the internet world in terms of entrepreneurs and success stories. So what do you see as a key pivotal part of their success?
Sure. Yeah. It's interesting because my focus really is a lot on that left brain stuff, the strategy and the marketing and the technology. And that's why a lot of the quote unquote gurus hired me was to help them with that stuff. But in being on these teams of really successful people, I noticed that they really know how to handle their mindset. A launch might not go as well as they wanted, or they might be hit with some huge expense, and to watch them sort of get that handled and recover from it and still be able to march forward. That's something I really admire. We were talking before we went live here, and I just lost one of my hard drives with some stuff on it that I'd rather not lose. And so that's got me a little bit flustered. And when being on these teams and watching how gracefully a lot of these leaders would handle hiccups like that, or even major setbacks, it was really inspiring. And I don't think I'm quite there yet, but yeah, that's something that I noticed from being on all these successful teams.
So it's able to handle setbacks, not let it throw you off too much. So that is a really great skill. And how do you personally handle setbacks? Because you've just mentioned one now.
Yeah. So I suppose, at least in this instance, I'm just going to make peace with losing everything on that drive, thinking, okay, all that data exists somewhere else in emails or whatever. And, I could let it ruin my whole day or weekend and spend a lot of time probably not getting very far. But instead, just before we got on the call, I was making peace with just erasing the drive and starting over. I think you and I've talked about this before, but just making peace with the worst possible outcome. And if you can be okay with that, then you've at least accepted it at some level and can move forward.
Absolutely. And your personal story, you worked with these guys and girls and, helped them to grow their businesses and help them to phenomenal success. And then you made a pivot, didn't you? And you decided that you didn't want to be on anyone's team. You wanted to do your own thing. What was that like for you? Because that was a big jump, and you're the breadwinner in your family. And I know how important it is for you to take great care of your family. So how did you handle that decision? Did you feel scared making that decision? Did you put it off for a while? What was the process like for you? And what what role did your mindset play in helping you to make that big leap?
Sure, sure. Yeah, I mean, it was definitely scary. I remember the day I was making that decision, taking a walk with my wife. We were living in Germany at the time, and we excuse me, we took a nice long walk on this German road. But yeah, but just with the left brain stuff, I knew that the strategy stuff works. You build a list, you build a great relationship with that list or trust, and then you make irresistible offers. So I was kind of excited, but also, when someone hires me to help them, the pressure isn't all on me. It's often on them to be successful in their business. And so so it was sort of a next level of responsibility. But yeah, I knew that I had made some good contacts over the years and felt like I could reach out and ask for help from some of these gurus that had big lists and might be able to tell their audience about me. Some did, some didn't. But yeah, so I would say it was scary, but I tried to treat it like a game, like I was playing a game, and let's see if I can get a high score. And sort of gamifying money and that kind of success has really been helpful, because I think when viewing it as a game, it takes the pressure off of like, oh, you're not going to eat next week. It's more like, let's see if I can beat my score from last time.
Yes, and I know you are such a big advocate of building a list and making offers. Yeah. So for any of our listeners who just, Luna, to move away from mindset a little bit, just talk a little bit about list strategy, because I know it's such a key part of growing our businesses. Mm-hmm. What is if you were to share one top tip about how to build a list for anyone listening, thinking, well, I don't really have much of a list. I don't know how to build a list. I don't know how to talk to my list. I don't know what to do with my list. How do you get sales out of a list? What would be a top tip that you could share with our audience around that?
Well, I mean, as far as growing a list, I think the top tip is connecting with other people who already have that audience of your ideal clients. It might be someone who hosts a podcast. It might be someone who's really good at emailing their big email list. But if you can create a relationship with someone like that, they can then introduce you to their audience. Again, whether it's a podcast or maybe speaking on a stage, or again, someone with a mailing list or a large social media following. But if you can really connect with someone who already has your ideal audience and they can introduce that audience to you, people can start to come into your world. And then the top tip associated with that is, as people start coming into your world, getting on your list or listening to you speak, the big goal here is to build deep trust with these people who are just meeting you, to build deep trust, and then ultimately to make them irresistible offers. I like to say wait about 30 days. So in other words, nurture people, deeply nurture people so they get to know you over more than just email, but they get to see you on video, hear your voice. The more you can nurture them, the more they'll trust you. And the ultimate sales success formula is trust and an irresistible offer. And so if we can do that first part and build trust, then our audience is going to be open to our irresistible offers.
Yes, and this is the strategy that you have used and that you coach your clients to use. And I know, because I know many of the people you've worked with, and it's been hugely, hugely successful for them to follow that strategy. In terms of your business then, so you decided to go it alone and work on your business and grow your list and grow your audience. And then you want to take it to the next level, didn't you? Because it can feel easy to get comfortable at a particular level, and it can be pretty good income and quite nice lifestyle. So what made you want to step it up?
Yeah, so I mean, I got to six figures pretty quickly, and that felt like a stepping stone, but I was sort of plateaued there. And I remember you and I, because of our long relationship and our friendship, you had offered me a coaching session.
I remember.
Yeah. And I thought, sure. I mean, I know you're good at this stuff. I don't know. I'm a little bit confident and feel like I have a pretty good handle on things, but true, my business was not growing. And so you and I had a wonderful coaching call where you took me back to my childhood and we questioned a belief until I no longer had that belief. And what was interesting is the very next month, after our coaching session, I did my first $30,000 month. And And that carried over into the following month as well, because I then did my first $40,000 month. And so I was like, wow, this makes a difference. And we can talk about what that difference is. But just to continue the story, I then, you offered me another coaching call several months later. I don't remember how many months it was, but then I hit my first $70,000 month. And I thought, holy cow, whenever I talk to Nina, good things seem to happen. And then shortly after that, I hired you for a whole year of coaching, because I thought, well, if just one session here and there can do that, I wonder what a year would do. And I remember it was in January, and it was the beginning of the year, and I thought, you know what, I'd love to see if I can do $1 million in my business. So we worked on that, and we had a few calls, but yeah, by the end of that year, I had actually done 7 figures in my business, Nina. And so even though I think I know everything, that's all that left brain stuff. The mindset just makes a huge difference. And so thank you for that.
Oh no, such a pleasure to work with you. And I remember getting that email from you, and we worked together the whole year. And then in the January of the following year, you emailed me and said, I've hit 7 figures. And, just felt so proud and, and so joyful for your great achievement. So from looking at what changed for you, and I know that mindset is an intangible thing. It's not always easy to be able to pinpoint, how you feel differently, how you show up differently. But for you, what changed? How were you showing up in your business and in your life?
Yeah, so I can't remember the exact belief that we worked on. You might remember.
I can remember it.
Would you share that with everyone, please?
Yes, it was 3 little words. I don't matter.
I don't matter. Okay. So so once I started feeling like I do matter, the way that I think it sort of tangibly showed up was confidence in the way that I would make offers to people, getting excited about new programs or new things that I could put out there. But I think really it helped with the confidence. I noticed that the way I was writing my emails was much bolder and maybe more fun and more energetic, and that my audience responded to that. So I think the mindset coaching translated into confidence, and then that confidence, I was radiating it out everywhere, and that translated into sales.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember really noticing the change in you as well. You put your prices up and you were making, bigger offers, and you're getting some great clients.
Yeah.
So what is it about mindset? Because it's such an overlooked part of being an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs spend a lot of time thinking about the strategy and processes and systems, and all of those things are really, really important. But why do you think mindset is an overlooked part of being an entrepreneur for so many people?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think there's a lot of information out there about strategy and tactics, and do this thing and follow these steps and you'll get this. And it's true that if you follow some of that stuff, you'll see results. But if I don't matter, then I might start to sabotage those results, or I might seem insincere when I'm making an offer. So I think the mindset stuff allows you to sort of set that thermostat to a higher level, meaning you're open to bringing in more money. You feel you deserve the money and your stuff is worth it. At least that's what it feels like in my case.
So what's the next thing for you? What are you working on now? What's your next big goal?
Yeah, so it's actually to simply do another million this year. I'd like to do that, and I'm a little nervous because I'm behind schedule. But one thing I've done is I raised the price of my best-selling program from $1,000 to $2,000 and added a lot of value, so it's really worth it.
And that is an amazing program, isn't it? Because you have created a whole new way of coaching. Yeah. And it's something that's worked brilliantly for me and for probably thousands and thousands of coaches out there. Would you just like to share a little bit about that process?
Sure. Yeah. I don't remember where we were in our mindset coaching relationship when I came up with it, but the big idea is to offer a year of unlimited 15-minute laser coaching sessions to a client for a low price. And the low price lets them come into your world and start working with you so that they trust you. And once you've got that coaching relationship established, what I found worked really well is to say, why don't we take the $1,000 you paid me for the year of laser coaching and apply it to a higher end program like a VIP weekend? Because over that coaching relationship, the trust is built. And then once the trust is built, they're open to higher end offers. So yeah, I don't know if I'm answering your question, but yeah, basically 15-minute unlimited laser coaching for a year was the model that I came up with.
Yeah, it's a tremendous model, and I've used it with great success, and my clients are having huge results with this model. And for anyone who's thinking about adding another offer, which is really maybe an entry-level offer into their portfolio of offers, I would really strongly recommend that you look at this unlimited laser coaching process that Rob invented, because it works like an absolute dream for every single niche.
Thank you, Nina. Yeah, when I first rolled it out, I got over 50 one-on-one clients my first year. And that was a mindset thing too, because it's like, wow, can I really serve all these people? They just got a year of unlimited coaching. And I brought people on 8 at a time. So it wasn't like I brought in all 50 at the same time, but it was irresistible enough. My list was a lot smaller then to get that kind of response. Yeah, so it was a little bit scary. I remember where I was with my wife, Christine, at the time. She's like, you're giving away a year of unlimited coaching for this price. And so, yeah, so I structured it though, so that it didn't get too crazy. And I'm happy to go into that detail. There's a homework rule. So in other words, if someone hires me for a year, that's great, but they will have homework to do before they can grab their next unlimited coaching session. And so that's what really kept it sane and reasonable. But yeah, it was a mindset thing. It's like, well, all right, I'll try it with 8 people. We'll see what happens. If I find out that I can't manage it, I'll still deliver the coaching to those people and won't offer it again. But yeah, but it ended up working out really well, where the average client had between 7 and 8 sessions over the course of a year. And the ROI on that is about $500 an hour for our time as coaches. So the pay wasn't too bad either.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So what do you do when you're scared? Maybe when you're scared of taking an action in your business, maybe there's some risk you're thinking about taking, but it just feels a little bit too challenging. So what do you do? How do you handle those situations?
Yeah, well, it might circle back to what we talked about before, by making peace with the worst possible outcome.
How do you do that? What's your process for that?
Well, I imagine what the worst scenario could be, and then sort of envision myself in that scenario. Let's say that I go broke and I owe taxes to the government and they throw me in jail because I can't pay my taxes.
Wow, you really are going for the worst case scenario, aren't you?
Yeah. So I die in prison from not paying my taxes. Like, yeah, that's something that's bothered me a few times throughout my career. And so I actually make peace with that. It's like, well, I've lived a great life. I believe set my family up pretty well. Maybe if we're totally broke, my wife will have to get creative and do something, or the life insurance when I die in prison can take care of her. But yeah, and knowing that that's very unlikely to happen, but making peace with it allows me to move forward, even though it's scary. And I've failed a whole lot. I think most people have in their business. But every time, every failure is a learning moment, right? It's like, okay, that didn't work. I remember I came up with the model for VIP weekends, and that was actually the result of a failure. I first thought, oh, wow, wouldn't it be cool if I had 12 people come to Denver, Colorado, because I was in that area at the time. And I led like a 3-day workshop on how to build a marketing funnel. And I put that out there with enthusiasm, and I was excited. And I got a few responses, but some people wanted different dates. Some people didn't want to travel. Some people, the price was an issue. And so I thought, okay, well, that didn't work. And I was really counting on it to work. So it allowed me to get creative and think, okay, well, what else could give those people that same result, but be even more irresistible? And so I came up with the idea to work one-on-one with people for a certain amount of money, where I would actually travel to them, or they would travel to me, or we'd do it virtually. And yeah, I ended up selling hundreds of thousands of dollars of those VIP weekends.
Yes, and I bought 2 of them from you.
Yes,
And
yes.
you created two amazing marketing and sales funnels for me. So again, that's just a brilliant process. You are inventive. You call yourself left brain, but you're actually a very creative right brain thinker as well, because you're able to write great copy, you come up with these great ideas, and you implement them. This is a really key thing, isn't it? With some entrepreneurs, they have an idea, but they don't actually implement it. So could you just say a little bit about what drives you to implement and to actually follow through on the ideas that you have?
Sure, sure. So a couple of things. Number one is having the space to implement. So the way that I break up my day is I typically in the morning, I do all my reactive stuff, the stuff that people are going to yell at me if I don't get it done, right? Either not showing up for a call or not having someone's work reviewed or, whatever it is. So I try to do all the reactive stuff in the morning. Then I take an afternoon nap, which is kind of like recharging our phone, right? That recharges me or recenters me. And then I try to do the proactive stuff in the afternoon or evening. And that whole model right there has been working really, really well. And I created something I call the Radical Results Power Hour, which gives the space to do that proactive stuff. So we hold that at 5 p.m. Eastern. Thursday, well, I guess it'd be Sunday through Thursday. So 5 days a week, from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., we meet and we say on Zoom what we're going to work on. Then we hang up, then we do something proactive. And so I've gotten a lot of proactive stuff done that way. I've also, if I just had a great nap and I wake up and I feel like working, then I might do even more proactive stuff then. But separating the reactive from the proactive has really paid off well for me, like from an energy standpoint.
Yeah, I love that.
Thank you. Thank you. Another thing that I've noticed is I came up with this idea. I was like at the beginning of this year. It was it's not an old idea, but I came up with this idea of punishments and rewards for myself, thinking, okay, if I can do this thing or get this thing done, I'll reward myself. And if I don't do it, I'll punish myself somehow, where the punishment would actually like help me. Like maybe it would be go run 10 miles if I don't do what I'm supposed to do. So in other words, it's a punishment that would be good for me.
It's a healthy punishment.
A healthy punishment. Yeah, yeah. But I'll tell you that the punishment stuff, I don't think it worked. I think I'm ready to set that aside. But the reward thing, usually that's in the form of trips. And so I remember I needed to get my funnel done to raise the price of my program, my main online course from $1,000 to $2,000. When I got that done, I rewarded myself with a little weekend trip to Miami. Nice. And yeah, the sales that have come in from there more than paid for the trip. So it all worked out. So my next project that I'm working on, and I just finished yesterday where I qualify for the reward, is getting 5 webinar funnels completed so that I can start offering not only my $2,000 program, but also programs at lower price points. I think that there's a section of my list that might not be able to swing 2,000, but they might be able to swing 1,000 or 300 for something. So I've created 5 webinar funnels, and it's taken me longer than I thought, but it was actually just yesterday that I finished the last piece of the 5th funnel. And so my reward for that is going to be a week traveling to the States and seeing some high school friends.
Wonderful. And it's to have 5 marketing funnels in place really starts bringing in some nice passive income, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that's what I love about your business model, because you do take time off. You're not working flat out 12-hour days. You have a nap and you spend time with your family, and that's what it's really all about, isn't it? Being a success. What's the best way for our listeners and our viewers to find out more about you and the amazing work that you do?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so I'd love to provide like a tracking link, and I don't have one handy. A tracking link would let us know if people listening to this podcast end up coming into my world, and if they buy something, I want to thank you, Nina. So I don't know, is it possible that you can list a URL for people to click rather than me saying one out loud that wouldn't really be trackable?
Sure, we can say something like Rob and Nina. Would that work?
Well, I don't know yet. So I guess what I'm suggesting is is I can create an affiliate link for you.
And then we can add it when we send out the podcast episode. Would that be okay? Perfect. Yep. Okay, let's do that.
Yeah. So, and if people go to that link, they can get a copy of my free report that explains that unlimited 15-minute laser coaching model, and then also invites them to a webinar where they can learn even more about it. So if anybody likes the idea of that 15-minute laser coaching model, then by clicking on that link that I'll give you, that would be a way to come into my world. Even if you don't want to buy anything, but just to study the way that I do things, maybe people will get some ideas for their own businesses.
Amazing. Thank you. That's great. And we will add that link on. Rob, I could talk to you for so much longer, but I know we have to wrap up now. And I just want to say a huge thank you, because it's been so amazing. I love chatting to you, and I know we don't spend enough time talking, but it's been so great. And thank you for sharing your wisdom with our audience. And for everyone who's been listening and watching, thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, bye-bye for now.